What up, y'all? It's Coffee, and we're talking about respect, right? Respecting elders, respecting authority, or just respect in general. We got to have a discussion about this. Let's roll the clip, y'all.
The thing you'll learn about my courtroom is that I am not a toy. I'm not to be played with.
What started out as an informational field trip with the Greening of Detroit nonprofit Tuesday to the 36th District Court in front of Judge King.
This is the 36th District Court for the city of Detroit. We do just about everything that happens in the city of Detroit.
Quickly turned into Judge King getting visibly agitated over a sleeping student in his courtroom.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood?
Judge King had her removed from the courtroom, but he told me that didn't fix her, quote, attitude. And that's when he pulled out the jail uniform and handcuffs.
That's not something that normally happens, but I felt compelled to do it because I didn't like the child's attitude.
King says he was trying to teach the teenager a lesson on behavior and respect in court.
I haven't been disrespected like that in a very long time.
He then threatened the girl with jail time.
I'm going to go to sleep tonight while you're sitting in the juvenile detention facility.
Was I really going to do that? Probably not. Could I have? Probably so. But that's not what I want to do to a kid who's there on a field trip.
His methods on teaching the youth now raising questions within the legal community. Larry Dubin, a former attorney with a background in legal ethics and now a law professor, making his concerns heard.
Just totally inappropriate. There were so many other ways in which to have helped that young girl learn. I have never seen anything quite like what I saw that took place in the courtroom.
The nonprofit running the field trip tells me in a statement, quote, although the judge was trying to teach a lesson of respect, his methods were unacceptable. The young lady was traumatized by the judge's unnecessary disciplinary treatment and scolding. The judge standing by his methods, though, saying it was all just to help children from being in his courtroom later in life.
So that was my own version of scared straight.
So how about that, man? They're on a class field trip. They go to the Detroit, 36th District Courthouse, and the judge wasn't having it. Now, you heard him, right? He didn't really want to do that. Could he do that, lock her up? Probably. That wasn't really what he was trying to do, but he just felt so disrespected by this young lady who just, according to these reports and, other individuals that were there, her just being scolded, reprimanded, removed from the courtroom didn't stop it, that she was shooting her mouth off. And, this just really raises an interesting question. As always, if you're new to the platform over here, it's all about coffee, talking it up with y'all, the people on whatever topic we're talking about, whether it be news, current events, a situation like this, sports, whatever. We talk a lot of topics, so please subscribe, hit the buttons, and join that discussion in the comment thread. But for me, it's hard for me to really purely, truly weigh in on this because obviously we're just going off this brief report. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't there to actually see how far things went. If this was a situation where dude was ego tripping on a power trip because he's the judge, or this was just a badass, disrespectful kid, because a lot of things come into question about parenting and such. Like, you hear that one guy saying this young lady was traumatized, and there was so many other ways for this young lady's behavior to have been dealt with. You know what I mean? It reminds me of anything nowadays where I bring this up so often in many situations with a lot of different things societally speaking, and trying to keep this within a reasonable time constraint. As I tend to ramble on a bit, again, hence the name J Coffee Talk, you know what I mean? But I'm more of a long form guy when it comes to talking, but I'm trying more and more to keep things more brief. But what I'm getting at with whatever we're talking about, like, there's never the happy medium in current day. Like, I often bring up, when I was a kid, our parents would go upside our head in the middle of the grocery store, at home. Hell, if I was bad at school, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing for an adult to come down there, hem you up, slap you silly and drag you up out of there. And, that's just what it was. And that's just how things went down, right? Was that totally right? Was that the way things should have happened? Was raising kids that way the exact right way to do things? Probably not, right? But in a lot of instances nowadays, rather than just like things have lightened up and you got to go easier on the youth, and it's more within reason, often things go the total opposite way where a lot of kids can just get away with whatever they want now. And, like no one can tell them nothing. And they know they just got to say that they're triggered or you're traumatizing me by yelling at me. And if not even yelling, just like, who do you think you are to tell me anything? Respect me as an individual. Hell, in some instances, you know what I'm saying? Shit is twisted if you won't respect that a kid is identifying that they're a cat. Did y'all hear about that? Where kids have little cat beds in the classroom and they crawling around like a damn cat, drinking milk out of the saucer and eating catnip. And if you're not respecting that, you're violating their rights, and you're wrong, and you're evil, and you're fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting a bit rambling on, as I said I tend to do. But the point that I'm making is there's never that happy medium where it's like, okay, back in the day, things maybe were a little too tough on these kids. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, instead of bringing it to a more reasonable level, a lot of kids just do whatever they want, and a lot of this comes to parenting. What kind of morals and rules and boundaries and stuff like that are the parents trying to instill in their kid's life? Are they trying to teach the kid to respect authority and such? You know what I mean? Or are they always like one of them parents where my child's never wrong? You know what I mean? Because I tell you, it is more challenging being a parent currently than ever, I believe. There's a lot of instances where kids are cutting up on some BS, and the parent goes down there trying to chop it up with authority figures and counselors and such at the school, and the authority figures and whatnot just totally are taking the kid's side when the kid is just bad as hell and playing everyone like a fiddle and manipulating the situation. It's pretty crazy. But getting back to this situation, as far as court goes and politics and the powers that be and rules and regulations and police in this country and such, like, even if you're protesting something, even if you totally don't agree with the justice system or with any particular system, right? You can't just go totally acting a fool, doing whatever the fuck you want and think that's all good and all gravy, because that's just not how it is. If you act up in a court of law, you will be held in contempt and thrown in jail. I've seen it happen. I also have seen instances, though, where judges are tripping. I think I shared this in another video or a live stream discussion that I did once before. And also, if you're new, please subscribe. As I already stated, I want to hear from all the people, but we have live streams where you can call in and chop it up on different topics and whatnot. But there was an instance where a judge was holding court and someone's phone went off in the courtroom, and the judge got to tripping. Whose motherfucking phone is going off in my courtroom? I ain't having it. And no one took accountability. No one stood up. So what did the judge do? Locked everybody up in the court and held the entire courtroom in contempt, and buses upon buses were taking people to the county jail that they couldn't even house all these people, and they had to call to a superior court judge who released all those individuals on their own recognizance. And the judge ended up, not being the judge no more, getting kicked off the bench. But plot twist, the judge ended up losing their job as a judge, right? But ended up getting a job where they made just as much money as being a lawyer or something like that for social services in the same county. You know what I mean? So there you go with that, like how the politics and bullish can play at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because like I was discussing, we're talking about the youth being disrespectful and such, but I ain't going to sit here and act like like I said, judges, the criminal justice system, police, and all that. I ain't gonna sit here and act like all these individuals don't be tripping and abusing their power. And, you know, like I was saying in this instance, do you guys think that this judge was tripping and abusing their power? For me, it's hard to say because we really couldn't see exactly where everything went wrong. But I thought this was an interesting discussion to have with everyone out there, a pretty intriguing news story that definitely caught my attention. You know, like just from hearing the judge speak, again, this is very brief. You know, so often in life we go off just first impressions, brief impressions and such, you know what I mean? And some people are slick talkers and, you know, they'll win a motherfucker over when they could be dead wrong. But I really was feeling like the judge seemed like a level-headed guy, like more or less. He was like, yo, I wasn't even trying to really take things there, do things that way, but we was just dealing with a real disrespectful kid, you know, who was running her motherfucking mouth. And like, I was basically trying to tell her, hey, maybe that's how you act at school or act at home, but you ain't gonna act like that in my house. But I don't know. That's about all I got on this one. I thank y'all for watching. Once again, do me that solid and hit them buttons for me. Hit them comments. Let's talk about it all. Can't wait to, you know, hear from everyone in the comment thread. Again, this is J Coffee Talk, where we talk music, news, sports, current events, life, and much, much more. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. And yo, let's do our best to try to respect each other out there. You know what I mean? Because it truly is crazy motherfucking times we're living in. Ain't that the truth? I'm gone. Peace.